There a send that him attack truth and know. Teach for reparation for your fit go. Rasta from Chicago, him light the way. Up with yourself, stay positive every day. Pharaoh said that me hear man the screen. Talking about the history, what they never seen. From the land of Zion to the street, flame jad. Spreading Jah love and giving praise to Jah. Pharaoh said that me hear on the screen. Talking about the history, what they never seen. From the land of Zion to the street, flame jad. Spreading Jah love and giving praise to Jah. There a send that him attack truth and know. Teach for reparation for your fit go. Rasta from Chicago, him light the way. Up with yourself, stay positive every day. Pharaoh said that me hear man the screen. Talking about the history, what they never seen. From the land of Zion to the street, flame jad. Spreading Jah love and giving praise to Jah. Pharaoh said that me hear on the screen. Talking about the history, what they never seen. From the land of Zion to the street, flame jad. Spreading Jah love and giving praise to Jah.
All right, positive energy all the time. We got Miami in the building. We got Greensboro, North Carolina. We got Atlanta in the building. We got Indianapolis in the house. We got Bristol, UK, England in the building. We got Atlanta in the building again. We got San Francisco in the building. Everybody on Facebook, what up? You know I'm representing Chicago. Everybody over on Kick, you know I'm representing Chi-Town. Everybody on Twitch, you know I'm representing Chirac. And everybody on YouTube, you know I'm representing the Windy City. We got Buffalo in the building. We got Fresno in the building. All right, here we go again. This is another one. We got Brixton in the building. We got Norwood, London in the building. We got an interesting conversation this afternoon. And some brethren hit me up to check out a conversation they were having. Go check it out. This is my brethren Ronald Pentecote and Kwesi. And it's called The Great Debate. Who first hailed Haile Selassie in the West? Comes to find out that the first person to really big up His Majesty in the West was out of Chicago, Illinois, in the early 1900s, like 1907. The Rastafarites. That's before the Rastafarians. So it came to people's attention that the first people to really call for black people to return to Africa, to Ethiopia, was out of Chicago. I will be going and getting the information and placing it on From Kemetic to Chicago. So you'll be able to go over there and see it. Make sure you subscribe to From Kemetic to Chicago. And you will see that discussion on that channel. Okay. So that's going to be going on over there. From Kemetic to Chicago. When you get a chance, make sure you subscribe to that. That's going to be next level. From Kemetic to Chicago. We got 1,000 subscribers without even working over there yet. But it's coming. So go check out From Kemetic to Chicago. It's going to be very interesting. Okay. So I will be having that discussion over there. Also over here, I will be having the Elder Pentecote, and I'm going to try to get Kwesi on Roaring Lions for an interview over here on Pharaoh Said That. So I'm going to be trying to get these brethren to get an interview to discuss the matter before I do my take on it and let them present as much information as they can. Salute to Brother Kwesi and salute to Ronald Pentecote, the elder brethren that live up in New York. He's born in Jamaica, though. He's been reaching out to me for a long time. He wanted me to get involved with the Ethiopian World Federation. It was interesting, wasn't it, Freeway Dread? It was really interesting. It was really interesting. Historical. They, people just realizing that. And that was coming out of Chicago. And that's got a lot to do why the pilot came out of this area, the Black Eagle. So there's always been a connection with Chicago and Haile Selassie. There's always been that connection for a while. I'm going to break it all down, but I'm going to interview them first since they broke the information and get that information. I thought it was interesting because of my position with FBA and the way people look at that. So I wanted to talk about that because people, what they were saying over there was interesting because they were saying that we don't need no division, we need unity. So that's why they got to get me over there so I could clarify that, because they're under the impression that FBA is about separation. Many people don't know what delineate means. Delineate doesn't mean separation. Delineate means to define exactly. So when you hear about foundational Black Americans delineating, that only means to define themselves exactly. You see what I'm saying? That's what it means. You understand? Yeah, Freeway. But there's always a strong connection with Haile Selassie. When he came here, he went to the Defender magazine. He went to Ebony and Jet. And when he was in Chicago, he said, I am not just the king of Black people of Ethiopia. I'm the king of Black people all over the world. Right? So I want to bring the information to the people, and I want to clarify something that they were saying, because there's a lot of confusion about foundational Black Americans. And for some reason, people, I don't think it's being taught what people know. So when people that call themselves FBA say stuff, they're still talking as individuals. They can't speak for FBA because there's no such thing as FBA. FBA is just an identification. And so it's just crazy. So I got to go over there with them brothers and tell them that, because they don't know that. They don't know that FBA is just identification. They think FBA, people think FBA is like a group or something. So when they say, well, Black Americans, FBA is just like saying Black Americans. But they don't say Black Americans as a group. If a Black American says something, they just blame that person. They don't say Black Americans. But when somebody that's identifies as FBA say something, they say FBA. That's not correct. Saying FBA is just like saying Black American. We're just re-identifying ourselves as foundational Black Americans because there are Black Americans. Foundational Black Americans is an identification. That's it. Our nationality is American. We are American citizens. That is our nationality. I am an American. Foundational Black American is a description of what type of American I am. That's it. It's replacing Black American. Nobody had a problem with Black American. They used to say Hispanic Americans, white American, Black American. We are getting rid of Black and we're replacing it with foundational Black Americans, because now other Blacks, when they come here and they become citizens, they are Black Americans. So any Black person that becomes an American citizen technically would be a Black American. But people don't want to understand it because they don't want to understand what's going on when it comes to getting services and jobs. And as foundational Black Americans, we have to identify ourselves as foundational Black Americans so that when they hand out the jobs, we get the amount of jobs we're supposed to get. Now, if we don't do that, they're going to give all other Black people jobs that we're supposed to get. Well, of course, the other Black people that's going to get them jobs, of course, they don't want us to do that because they're robbing us of our opportunity and what we built. They're not robbing whites. Because they can't discriminate, so they got to hire so many Blacks. What we don't want them to do is hire other Blacks. We want them to hire us first. We are American citizens. We want to get what's due to us. We built the country. Jamaicans didn't build the country. Trinidadians didn't build the country. And people that's still in Africa didn't build the country. The people that was brought here, if you want to say that, or the people that you say indigenous was here, whatever you want to call them, we're the ones that built the country. We're owed more than white Americans because white Americans got paid. And Black Americans didn't even get paid. We did all our work for free. So now when it's time to get the piece of the pie, we want our share. We don't want to share it with no other Blacks. Cut them their piece. We want to be identified. We don't want to be mixed in and bunched in a group. Period. Now, any Blacks in America don't like that, go back where you came from. We want to be identified specifically. Now, the question is that something that you think I want to debate with somebody? Because at that point, you think that I need to debate that with you, then you're the problem. Because I don't have to debate anything with you in my country. And this country belongs to mostly whoever been here the longest. So if I was an immigrant, I would know that other people been here a long time, did a lot of stuff, and I just got here. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I wouldn't have a problem with whites that been here, Blacks that been here, Native Americans that been here. I'll get in where I fit in. But to come over here and be a Black person and try to compete with us when we've been here, that is the problem. That Black immigrants need to check themselves. You can't come and eat off my plate. You got to get a plate. You got to get a plate. Go in the kitchen and get a plate. Imagine you set your plate and you got in, somebody come eat off that plate instead of going to get a plate and set their own plate. So there's all this mix-up, so I want to straighten that out. Because the brother's talking about we're pushing division. We're pushing separation by identity for taxes and for benefits. White folks are separated from you. If you're here and you're an immigrant, you're an African, are you united with white people as far as the paperwork And the services, no. They're listed as white Americans. Why nobody upset that they white Americans? That they separated? Are white Americans identified separately from everybody? Yes. Are black immigrants complaining about that? No. They're complaining about us making sure we identify. Now, if you, as a black immigrant, that ain't none of your business anyway. That's not none of your business. That's not your business to even speak on. That's not your business. They say, listen, the immigrants say they want that. That's irrelevant. I wouldn't even argue with that. We're not changing that for them. They ain't got nothing to do with it. This is where a lot of black immigrants, this is what people don't understand. That's why they come over here. Identifying as foundational black America is for the United States government. It has nothing to do with other black people. This has nothing to do with other black people. This is for the record for the United States government. We have to work to get them to call us that. We have work to do because we have to get our identification changed on the census, changed on all of these, where you go look statistics. Next, we're going to be campaigning for them to not call us black Americans. The United States government must identify us as foundational black Americans. So which one's more important? Some African agreeing to that, some Jamaican agreeing to that, or the United States government agreeing to that? We want the United States government to identify us, to delineate us, to specifically describe us. Okay? I mean, I don't know what's going on. Why, you know what I'm saying? So I seen the brothers over there, they was confused too. Delineate. Describe or portray precisely. To describe or portray precisely. Now, how can somebody that precisely calls themselves a Jamaican have a problem with us being foundational black America? This is what's phony. How can somebody that precisely identify themselves as a Nigerian, precisely identify themselves as a Ghanaian, precisely identify themselves as Ethiopian, have a problem because I precisely identify myself as a foundational black American? It's the same. Okay? This is why we beefing with a lot of people, because they're phony. And they want to have a double standard, and people always want to step on us and get in our business and try to give us a short end of the stick and tell us that we got to be for everybody when everybody else is for themselves. And so I can't wait till these brothers interview me so I can set the record straight. I'm going to set the record straight because they Jamaicans. They can talk Rasta, but they are Jamaicans. Why don't they just call themselves whatever? Why don't they stop using the Jamaica as identification? And when Jamaican Independence Day come, they be representing Jamaica. It's just for identification purposes, for the government and for us so that we can see what we're getting. We don't want to know how much money going to blacks. How much money is going to foundational Black Americans? Period. Now, anybody don't like that, get out the country then. You got two choices. Get along with us or get out. It's point blank. Because the division comes from all the people that hate us. And so I can't wait to talk to the brothers so I can straighten out all that Yankee stuff, because they over there talking and they never once said anything about Jamaicans being rude before Black people even knew of the unity. The Jamaicans was already pushing division. Jamaicans was calling Black Americans Yankees, and Black Americans didn't even know nothing about Jamaicans. When the Jamaicans was calling us Yankees, what was we calling them? Nothing. We wasn't calling them nothing. Black folks didn't even know nothing about Jamaicans. Just a few like me. But all of them knew to call us Yankees, because that's something they've been calling us in Jamaica. I ain't never seen no Black Americans, when they meet some Black person with an accent, call them nothing. That ain't our culture like that. I ain't never seen a Black American call an Ethiopian nothing, or African nothing. I ain't never seen that before. Kids might signify it to school, but I ain't never seen no adult Black Americans call no other Black people nothing. I ain't never seen it before. I never seen one foundational Black American Rasta call a Jamaican a banana boat, but I've seen plenty of Rastas call us Yankees. Plenty. I can't wait. I cannot wait till I get over there so I can straighten them out. So they talking unity. I ain't even got no unity in Jamaica, and they talking about world unity. I ain't even got no unity in Jamaica, and they talking world unity. I'm gonna ask the hard questions. Is it unity in Jamaica? Because for you to be talking world unity with no unity in Jamaica, that's phony. And this is the problem, that everybody get on these type of situations and they bow down, and they don't really put the checks and balances out here. I know, Bongo. I know. And what do you call them? You don't got no name for them, do you? You ain't got no name for them. We just call them Jamaicans. We don't have no name for them. We don't have no name for them. We where we live at, so we ain't think about nobody else. People come in here and think about us. In Africa, they teach them, don't hang with the blacks when you get over there. They criminals, they this and that. They tell them that. They don't tell them nothing about Black American doctors, nurses. They never bring up the professions we got. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never laughed it off. I always said, you know where you at, right? That's all I always said. Bro, you're a long way from Jamaica. Don't get your stuff split to the white meat. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never, wait, you're not in Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never had one of them call me a Yankee. I say it about people. They ain't never called me nothing like that, because you can't, how you in LA, you in Chicago, bro, you in LA, this Crips and Bloods. This Crips and Bloods. And guess what? Guess who the Crips gonna ride with? Me. Guess who the Bloods gonna ride with? Me. Guess who the GDs and BDs and vice versa? When they go and see Rasta, and they get around Rasta, and they hear me and hear my accent, all the black folks come my way. Hey, brother, where you from? From Chicago. Oh, yeah, man. And they ask me all the questions. They feel comfortable. You understand what I'm saying? And so I had to come over here to explain something, because then on the foundational Black American side, they don't understand why a foundational Black American would be a Rasta. Everybody think you got to be either or. You got to be this or that. A foundational Black American is a description to describe exactly what I am. How come I can't be a Rasta? Jamaicans are described specifically as Jamaicans, and they Rastas, and that's in Ethiopia. So even foundational Black Americans don't understand the description. They think the description means some type of prejudice or some type of something. That's what they think. They think because you identify as foundational Black Americans, you can't mess with nobody else or something. I don't know where that came from. Like some kind of, what? And so this show you that both sides is kind of tripping. It's too many people that don't know the facts. You understand? It's too many people that don't know the facts. It's too many foundational Black Americans that don't know that's just to identify specifically who you is. That it. That ain't got nothing to do with no separation. That's not stopping you from opening your own stores. That's not stopping you from doing that in your community. That's not stopping you from building. Other people's not stopping you. The thing that's stopping us is the finances to go into business at the level where we at. We ain't at the level like a little store in Jamaica or a store in Africa. We at the big level, so we need our money. We're highly sophisticated, highly intelligent, highly electronic engineers. So we need our reparations because we want to do big things. We want to build our own cars. That's the level we at. That's the level we at. We ain't at the level for just beauty shops and barber shops. We at the next level. We want to have the finances so we can have our own satellites, so we can go directly to our own satellites. We ain't got to worry about the white man turning us off the satellite. We ain't got to go through his system. And this is what he's afraid of. He's afraid that we get reparations. We could buy directly from the Black Africans. We don't have to go through the Chinese. We don't have to go. We can have our own tankers. We can have our own shipping companies to go to Africa and get our stuff. We can cut the middleman. We could have went and helped the brother in Burkina instead of the Chinese. If we had the economics, the Chinese ain't smarter than us. The Chinese cannot compete with us. They be stealing our inventions too. Everybody be stealing our inventions, including the Chinese. Be watching us and stealing our stuff, going in their scientific labs and making our stuff. As soon as they hear we got an idea, they go steal it. They don't need no patents because they ain't in the United States. As long as they don't sell it over here, they can steal it. And so people want to know, how do I balance it? Well, it shouldn't be no balance. My identification ain't got nothing to do with Rasta. The principle behind foundational Black American and Rasta don't even clash. They don't clash. Those are two different things. Those are totally two different things. It's not either or. It's not good business for us to get into ridiculous beef. We want white America to put on the records and the census and all their statistics, foundational Black Americans. That's it. When we count it as we don't want to be counted as Black. We want to be counted specifically because we have to specifically show who we are to get reparations. You cannot get reparations unless you can trace your lineage back to the 1800s, and then that's proof that you was here doing slavery, and then you get your money. But we don't want to hate, because if we get reparations, I might want to go to Jamaica and buy a castor oil. I might want to buy hundreds of thousands of dollars of castor oil. So we don't want to do international business. So it don't make no sense to be hating international. We need to be focused on reparations, because if you was focused on reparations, you would know you got to do international spending. So instead of Nigerians and Africans hating on foundational Black Americans, they should be hoping that we get the money and setting themselves up to do business. Ghanaians should be setting themselves up to sell us chocolate. Ethiopia should be setting themselves up to sell us tea and coffee and everything they got. Because if we get our reparations, we don't need no Starbucks in the Black community. We can fix our community up and get coffee straight from Ethiopia and open up our own. We could put that money behind Jadakiss and his daddy's coffee shop. And we can have Jadakiss's coffee shop in our neighborhoods. We don't need Starbucks. We can invest in Jadakiss and his father's coffee. And we can go to Ethiopia and go to Jamaica. The two places got the best coffee in the world. Colombia too. But the Jamaican coffee and Ethiopian coffee is top ranked. Just as good, if not better than Colombia. And so we need to be working hard to get foundational Black Americans to understand this is just an identification. Focus on that. Now, if I find out I'm a foundational Black American and we start calling ourselves foundational Black American, and let's say I'm a Black woman and I go to an African shop and they don't do my hair, of course I'm going to say foundational Black Americans need to boycott the Africans. Why? Because that's the new word. If I wasn't foundational Black Americans, I would say what? Black Americans need to boycott. Just because we put foundational in front of it, people are tripping. We've been saying Black Americans should do this, Black Americans should do that. Just put the word foundation in front of it. What the hell are we doing? Foundational. Black Americans, the same thing you've been calling us. But now all of a sudden we put foundational in front of it. What the world collapsed because we put foundational in front of Black Americans? We've been called Black Americans. We've been delineated by the term Black Americans. A Jamaican's not a Black American. An African's not a Black American. But could become Black Americans because the Europeans that you have to fight always want to cheat you. So us as foundational Black Americans, we got to protect ourselves so the European and American won't cheat us. We cannot expect brothers and sisters from the Caribbean and Africa to understand. They ain't going to understand. And in many cases, they taking advantage of that and taking jobs from us and coming in, identifying as Black and taking from us. So anytime you arguing with the culprit, you wasting your time. Because Black immigrants been undercutting us, period. They've been coming in, doing movies with these Europeans, charging less, putting Black actors and actresses out of money that work their way up. Say you worked your way up, but you're supposed to get $2 million a film. some African to come in and do it for 800,000. And you've been working all these years to become an actor to get so much, and some brother come from Africa and cut you under to be in the movie and hurt our finances, and he's starving, so he take anything. So now the Europeans could play him like a buster and ain't got to pay us. It's the Idris Elba and all them. They not our friends. They just came over here and undercut the market. That's all the Africans been doing, undercutting the market. They've been ruining the market. They've been ruining the value, working for cheaper. And these brothers going to call that division. I can't wait to go up and say, well, call it division, dismission, or quadrivision, multiplication, arithmetic, reading, and writing. I don't care what you call it. Call it what you want to call it. Because I watched them brothers and they had everything to say about us, and they didn't say nothing about the behavior of Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Africans. They ain't say nothing about their behavior. They trying to act like we got to be the ones trying to beg everybody to be a friend, and ain't nobody else got to do nothing. I'm not trying to hear that. I can't wait till I go over there, because they Jamaicans. I'm going to start with the Jamaicans first. I can't wait. That's going to be the hottest interview over there. Because I'm be like, y'all talking all this unity. Why y'all wasn't talking that when all the Jamaicans came up here rude as hell? Why y'all ain't been talking that? Because Jamaicans ain't been rude a little bit. They some of the best. But you always had two types of Jamaicans. You had the ones that messed with us and you had the ones that didn't. So I can't wait to talk, because it's Jamaicans that ruined the Rastafari movement. They the ones destroyed it. And so I can't wait to go over there, because they talk about unity. I'm saying, well, I don't understand why you're talking about unity between black people everywhere when the Bobo Shanti, right? Hey, Freeway, how they talk about unity everywhere when the Bobo Shanti, the Nyabingi, and the 12 tribe and the Orthodox, they don't even work together. There had one time when Sizzler went and tried to talk to all of them, and they argued for the whole hour. And they talk about unity. Hey, Freeway, they talk about unity, and them rosters down there, hey, man, them different houses of Rastafari, they hate each other. This is crazy. The people crazy. They don't even like each other. That's why so many of us up here, like Freeway and us, we just roster. And my line, Freeway, a lot of rosters in America, we just rosters. We don't really claim no house because all the houses is in a mess. We're just miscellaneous rosters. Don't none of them recognize the other one. Hey, don't none of them. Don't, man, listen. When I first became a roster and I was in California, the Nyabingi wore the red on the top. So it's red, gold, and green. The 12 tribe wore the red on the bottom. Red, gold, and green. This is out in L.A. And they was really looking for where you had the red at. Did you have the red at the bottom or the top? So me being the foundational Black American, I made my crown red, gold, and green. Green, gold, and red. I put both of them. I put both of them on there. Hey, my name, Wes. Leave me out that mess. See, 12 tribe and Nyabingi. I'm with both of y'all. That's how I got my crown made. I put both flags on there. Because they were saying in wartime, you're supposed to turn the flag upside down and put the blood on the top. That's what the Nyabingi was saying. What they say to me? Nothing. Nothing. Can't y'all tell I'm a little? Hell no, nobody say nothing. I was kind of, as a shorty, I thought I knew everything. I really do know a lot now. But I always acted like I knew. Hey, listen, I didn't know a lot, but I acted like it. I wasn't trying to hear nothing. But I came in Rasta, like I was Kemetic, but I came into Rasta Kemet, because I was Kemetic and grew my dreads Kemetic. Then I found out I was a Rasta, so that's why I'm a Kemetic Rasta. But I came into dreadlocks from the Black Panthers and Malcolm X. So I was a militant Kemetic Rasta. So my attitude was always militant, Fred Hampton. So I was kind of bodacious. I wasn't, I didn't come in just with Rasta. I came in militant. So that affected how I was functioning. I was functioning from a militant perspective. You see what I'm saying? So I came in with a military mind state. So a lot of brethren, they wouldn't debate me and stuff like that because I always went back to the militant. See, I was one of the few Rastas that dressed like a soldier every day. I really dressed like a soldier. Anybody tell you, well, not every day, but basically, Army Green, I've been wearing for years. And then when I got to LA, I started buying the black coat because the buttons and stuff look better. I started buying the black military jackets like that. They was on some gang separation vibe between each other. He left all of that and just said, I'm a Rasta. Yeah, Bongo, it was, it was a lot. I had a brother in LA named Bongo from Philadelphia. I wonder where he's at. I need to search him. I'll be forgetting I can go on Facebook and find people. I need to find Bongo. I bet he on Facebook. I'll be forgetting, man. Facebook, I can find everybody. I'll be forgetting, man. I can find Bongo on Facebook. Oh, there you go. Man, you lying. Man, you lying. Hold on, let me make a comment. Man, you lying. I'm slow as hell. I just found him. Man, I'm so slow. Man, I'm so slow. That's my brethren. Ah, man, I'm slow. Man, I'm slow. I can't believe, man, I'm slow. That's crazy. That's my brethren I met in Hawaii. Powerful brother. What year was what? This picture right here? This picture probably 19. This probably 1979, maybe early 80. That's probably 1979. I started growing my dreads in 78. So I don't know how fast they grew. So it's 79 or 80. When I lived in the forest, what was I eating the most? Um, I'm writing a book, a pamphlet on that. I was eating really nothing the most. Because I'm out there with all those pineapples and lychee and guavas and coconuts and mangoes, and then plus I was cooking food. You know Bongo? Yeah, my brethren Bongo from man, I don't know what I was thinking. I could have been found him. I could have been found my brethren, man. I could have been found my brethren Bongo. You know what I'm saying? There go my brethren right there. The first, like one of the first Rastas I met in Hawaii. Him and his queen. They used to look out for me. Yep, they used to look out for me, man. That's my brethren right there. That's my brethren, man. Uh, he probably on Instagram too. Let me see, man. Man, I'm slow. I don't know. I'm gonna find him though. I don't know what he is on Instagram. Hold on. I'll find him though. Let me finish the conversation. I'll be forgetting. I can find everybody. Yeah, that's my brother. He always looked out for me. He was on the Wahoo, and then I went to the Big Island. But yeah, these brothers, they doing the interview. It's definitely a good interview for you to go watch, for sure. It's a good interview, and the brothers on something positive. They want to know how we gonna unify. They want to unify, and they saying that it's a diaspora war, is what they calling it. So they saying it's a diaspora war, and they don't appreciate us having a diaspora wars. But I don't, I don't, I don't believe that Rasta as a whole did a good job. So when I go over there, I'm gonna have to be the bad guy, of course, and tell the truth. And the brethren said they don't like the diasporas and stuff. They're that. But I gotta let them know that the Rastafari movement through reggae catered to white people. You never catered to black Americans. So it's just crazy. Now you're saying you don't like no diaspora wars, but you neglected us. I don't know. I don't know what they think. They never reach for the community like that. The early brethren did. The early Rastas did. They was in Florida. They was in New York. They was in Chicago. Places like that. And they was in the community, dealing with the community and playing music, and the community really started listening to the music. But as it started to grow, and it started to get in places like California, Denver, where the population of blacks is not that big, it started to get watered down. And to be able to do tours, they had to be able to do tours in a lot of white places. You know what I mean? And so the message never did. You know what I'm saying? The message never went through because the reggae artists, the Jamaican reggae artists, wasn't Africans. They wasn't Africans. They was Jamaicans. So I can't wait to go over there so somebody could tell the truth. I mean, they talking all this stuff about Africa, but they was not Africans. The elders was Africans. My teacher, Ras Kojo, was an African. This group, you couldn't call him a Jamaican because they would say they're not going to trade a continent for a little island. So you had to call them Ethiopians with an I. So the elder Rastas only identified themselves as Ethiopian. They never identified as Jamaican. They never would wear the Jamaican flag. They never wore the Jamaican colors. They never celebrate Jamaican independence. Never. 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 The next group that came, they was Jamaicans. That's why they even the reggae song, one love, one heart, let's get together and feel all right. They changed that to come to Jamaica and sold it for the thing. Yeah, that got to be addressed. So they changed it to that because the younger ones came in. They weren't like the older ones. Like nobody really understand. I don't want the older ones to get a bad rap. The older ones, the first Jamaicans that came in, they was black Africans. They loved black people. They didn't believe in black American, black Trinidad. They didn't believe in that. They didn't believe in none of that. They was going by the principle, no matter where you come from, as long as you're a black man, you're an African. That was the principle. That's what they were standing on. You could not call them Jamaicans, boy. The elders. Boy, you bet not. You call Peter Tosh a Jamaican. I bet he cuss you. You better not call, boy, what? Boy, listen. You couldn't call him that. But when the money came in from the Sunsplash, and now the Sunsplash is bringing a lot of money to Jamaica, right? Then more people became reggae artists, right? And to be a good reggae artist, you got to look like a Rasta. So all of these people that wanted to make money in reggae started growing dreads and singing Rasta, which these brethren couldn't be Rasta. They had to hide in the hills. If they went down to town, Kojo told me if he go visit his mother, they'll unalive him and leave him in the gully, right? So it changed. Okay? It changed. Over the years. And it wasn't cool to be a Rasta. It was dangerous to be a Rasta. It was dangerous. Right? These things nobody talk about, right? Like coral gardens, right? So things like coral gardens. Nobody talk about. See, this is the early Rastas. The history of Jamaican Rasta beating coral gardens refers to the coral garden incident of April 1963, a violent event where a group of Rastafarians were involved in an attack at a gas station, leading to the unaliving of several people, including a police officer. The incident sparked a brutal crackdown by the Jamaican government against Rastafarian community, with orders to bring in all Rastas, dead or alive, given by Prime Minister Alexander Bustamante. During this period, many Rastafarians were arrested, tortured, beaten, and their dreadlocks forcibly shaved. Decades later, in 2017, the Jamaican government issued an apology for the atrocities committed during the Coral Gardens incident and established a trust fund to provide reparations to the survivors and their families. The UN Human Rights Office noted that the apology was a significant steps towards justice and reconciliation for the Rastafarian community, who had endured systematic discrimination and marginalization for many years prior to the following incident. So even before Coral Gardens, Rastas was being beat and mistreated brutally, brutally. And all the islands too, not just Jamaica. They had islands where if I flew there, they cut my dreads right at the airport. You understand? Right at the airport. You understand? Now, the thing with reggae was, what people don't know, the elders is the ones created reggae. So the Rasta elders was definitely in the reggae. Ras Kojo and Mortimer is the ones that built the reggae. That's why you hear black people say, Aya Bingi Kojo is coming over. Mortimer wrote Sada Masagana and a lot of Bob Marley songs. Mortimer Plano wrote that. You understand? These are the brothers that created reggae. These are the brothers that converted Bob, Bunny, and Peter from regular Jamaicans to Rastas. That's a fact. The elders created reggae. They was the ones that made sure pop, 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 dun, 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 dun. There is a land that comes straight out the hills. Dean's brethren. And I sat with Kojo, so I got it straight from the horse's mouth. Every reggae artist that came to California called Kojo. Okay? So it was definitely about the music, 100%. But it was what you was going to say in the music. You understand? Yeah, he's in the Rockers movie, too. He's in Rockers. Walking out there in the ocean and stuff. So it was definitely, they created it. They wrote a lot of it. They created it. The elders created it. But then after a while, when the younger and younger people came in, that's when it went funny. That's when it went funny. It started going funny in the late 80s. Until then, it was fine. It didn't go sideways till the late 80s. And it started going sideways, and they infiltrated it. So they infiltrated and put another music alongside of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but more so, they wanted to bring in the regular Jamaicans. So they figured out a way to bring in the regular Jamaicans because it was Rasta music, but you always had Sugar Minott, who wasn't a Rasta. You had Michigan Smiley and his partner. You had people that wasn't Rasta into it, and they started bringing in more. They started bringing in Yellow Man, and they put Shaba with Maxi Priest, and they brought in the Slang Tang, right? So they brought that in with no bass guitar, right? Then they start bringing in, pinchers, and they slowly Elephant Man, and they began to infiltrate it with the regular Jamaicans, right? They began to water it down with the regular Jamaicans and the Africans. They start, you listening to the reggae radio show, they playing Fela, they playing King Sunny Ade, right? And watered it down. You know what I'm saying? They watered it down. It was a hot cut, but Maxi Priest was feminine. He was girly. We want to be. It was like it wasn't Rasta. It was. You know what I'm saying? And they bought Maxi Priest in with Shaba, and then Shaba took over, and they threw Maxi Priest in the garbage. Maxi Priest, they used him to introduce Shaba, and Shaba come in, bedroom bully. He come in, talk about the bedroom and doing all this stuff to women. Yellow man talking slackness. So then they let the slackness in, took it over. Next thing you know, murder, she wrote, and that was it. That's how they infiltrated. Watered it down, right in front of our face. And they had the Africans help. They don't got to play as much music if they play Sunny Ade and Fela and all them. You know what I mean? Yep, then Sean Paul. Yep, they watered it down. Boom. You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? They watered it down. It didn't stay on the principles because you had new people coming into it. You had the Mighty Diamonds, you know what I'm saying? The Mighty Diamonds, some powerful brothers, They was keeping it, but then they watered them down too, Baba TV, because they took their song, Pastor Coachy Panilla, and gave it to the musical youth. Pastor Coachy Panilla, and watered it down. They robbed the Mighty Diamonds, so they song Pastor Coachy Panilla and gave it to the kids. Pastor Ducci watered it straight down. You know what I'm saying? Remember that? They gave it to the kids. They robbed the Mighty Diamond. And gave it to the kids, man. Oh, my soul. Yep, they robbed the Mighty Diamonds and gave the song to the kids, man. And watered it down till they destroyed it. Basically. Yeah, they watered it down, man, and they just kept pushing at it. And see, this is what they was doing. See, this what they did. I'm going to keep it real. Y'all check this out. This is what they did. This is what they did. And shout out to Tabby Diamond and my brethren Gold Tafari. Both of them passed away. I'm the only one still left. Gold from the Virgin Islands. Tabby, that's me out there selling, getting my money. I was the official Rasta vendor. Shout out to Nicholas Novelty, because Nicholas had everything in New York, and I had him sending it to me in L.A. Nobody in L.A. had all that stuff because it's a big Caribbean community in New York. So I had shut the game down. But this is what they did. Reggae was big. It was pro-black. So blacks started to want to throw the shows to get the reggae money. But the whites wanted to get this reggae money. Then they could kind of take the blackness out of it. Right? Yeah. So what they did was, if me and Baba TV want to throw a show, and we put a company together to throw a show, and let's say we send for Junior Reed, they would deny his visa. If we sent for a reggae artist, try to book a reggae artist to do a tour, me and Baba TV, and they find out we black and we get they won't get their visa. Then a few months later, a white group want to bring them, visa go right through. Visa go right through. So all the black promoters, every time we trying to book somebody, they would refuse their visa. When some white company want to bring them, no problem. And that's how they took blacks out of the business. Shut us out. Barbara Bear, shout out to Barbara Bear Bino. And everybody in LA know what I'm talking about. That's what they used to do. They shut the black promoters down and wouldn't let give them the visas. If you book Bunny Wailer, visa don't go through. Whites book Bunny Wailer, visa go right through. These are facts. All my friends was the promoters. This is how they kept us out of business. Because without that, we would have been able to control the industry. Now by them, now check this out. So when the whites book them, right? They book the reggae artists. Then they have them go into a lot of white states and white cities. So now the reggae artists, they got to change their song list, right? So if it's Gregory Isaac, he can't sing Slave Driver. You know what I'm saying? If it's Dennis Brown, they can't sing Slave Driver. They can't sing that because they booking them in all white areas. So they got to change their band list and sing songs. They can't sing cultural songs, revolutionary songs, pro-black songs. Yeah, this is what they did. This is what they used to do. So you could see a band in Chicago. I could see my brother in Chicago singing one song list in front of a black audience and then in front of a white audience not. Because they can't do it because they ain't going to make no money. Because you can't go in front of a white audience and sing songs you made for black people. See what I'm saying, Elijah? It's not compromising. It's like the song don't make no sense. So if you write a song and you black and you writing it for a black audience and you get in front of a white audience, now the song don't make no sense. So if you're saying we got to fight, we got to do this and that, it don't make no sense. So every artist is going to tailor their songs based on the audience. So if I give you another example. If I'm a reggae band, I'm a reggae artist. I'm doing a big festival. It's a whole bunch of blacks and whites. I could do my whole song list. But say I'm doing a club. Where a lot of couples come. I got to sing more Lovers Rock. Because it's couples. So I got to sing what's going to make make sense where I'm at. So they made sure that they couldn't sing to a black audience. So they have to sing a certain way. And that's what they still doing now. They booking the Marleys and them at like all white places. There's no reggae in the black community like that. Like there's no big reggae acts in Chicago unless it's for an audience that would be European. You understand? So all of the, because back then, right, in the 80s and the early 90s, there was reggae clubs everywhere. So if you was a band, you could just work here, then there, then here, then there, 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 boom. As clubs start disappearing, now you got to fly all the way halfway across the country to do a show. That's more money. You're only getting, so they knocked it down. So then it got to a point where most of the shows was in California and New York and Florida, then less in California and less and less. So now they can't make no money. They got to go to Europe. So you can't get the message. Exactly. See, in the early days, reggae concerts was like some kind of black church, right? I'm giving y'all some real history, like 78, 79, 80, 81. Reggae shows was like a mixture of militant army and church. And so all us rosters, we would come to these reggae shows. Everybody got their crowns on with their locks and stuff. And the artists would get on stage, and you had a lot of local bands. So you had a lot of local bands in Chicago, a lot of local bands in LA, New York area. You had a lot of local bands. So now these local bands, these little clubs would be open, sometime like the Wild Hair's open 7 days a week. Some of them open, 5 days, 4 days, like that. So we would come, the local brothers would get up there and play. We would be in there dancing like military, right? Skanking was like a military step. The music would get up to a certain level, and people would start snatching their crowns out, Jah Rastafari, like that. And you see all these dreadlocks would come out, right? That's what it used to be like. It was a militant. Now, because they got all these local clubs, these are clubs for the big artists to come. So now the big artists can come to the Wild Hair and the club I used to work in Indianapolis, and the big acts can come. So because the local acts kept the clubs open, the big acts could do a tour, no problem, and promote the message. It was super militant, beyond what you can imagine, super militant. All right, so now because it's so much work, they gotta find musicians. So the Jamaican brethren started hiring foundational Black Americans. And they began to teach us how to play reggae drums, guitar. Like brothers and sisters already know how to play drums and guitars. You know what I'm saying? Because Black folks used to play a lot of music from the 60s and the 70s. So they just taught them how to play the reggae, right? So now the Jamaicans reggae artists got lot of bands. Because in Chicago, when I first got into it, in like 78, 79, all of the reggae artists, 80, all of the reggae artists in Chicago only had like 2 drummers. A drummer named Big U, he had to play for everybody. They ain't had no drummers. So this is how the Jamaicans and the Black Americans got tight, because we started learning how to play reggae so they could have a band. So we started learning how to play the bubbling on the keyboard. We started learning how to play the bass. We had horn players, because that was my first job. I was a horn player for Nyakoma. And my job was to get there and they play, and I'm dun dun dun. We sound sweet. Dun, 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 dun. So the music sound great because my other brother, he played sax. So our band, we got a trumpet and a sax. We could play the horn lines. Boy, it sound boss because we was musicians. And then the sisters would get their dreads. They would have foundational Black American females singing. Real talk. Foundational Black American guitar players. And that blew reggae up because now the foundational Black American musicians is playing the reggae, making the reggae big. That's why by you get to the mid to late 80s, reggae is the biggest music in America. A lot of people don't know that. The reggae spot was the spot. That's why I always give Jamaicans love, because they wasn't really hating to the point to mess up the culture. They wasn't really known to just hate like that. It was just a couple of them saying that Yankee thing like that. Most of them didn't do that. It was rare. But it was happening with some of them. But it was rare. And then they had to stop that. So they started pushing the dance hall music. They had to stop that. It was too big. It was too big. It was too many Black people getting into it. Trinidadians started getting bands. Blacks up in England started getting reggae bands. Blacks up in Canada started getting reggae bands. You got Oswald, you got Steel Pulse. I mean, it started getting big, big. And they had plenty of musicians to do it. So we started learning how to play. And that made the reggae gigantic. Not just big, super big. You know what I'm saying? Because I was a bass man, and I was one of the best in the game because I could play with no rehearsals. So I was a bass man. I had a Steinberger too. I had an expensive bass. It was professional. We was making money. That's how we was making a living, playing music. I was making a fortune playing reggae and selling reggae merchandise. Selling and Black conscious merchandise, like the red, black, and green and the red, gold, and green. I was making a fortune. I was making a fortune. And then I was dressing the stars. I was dressing the stars so the stars could look good when they go on tour. And that's why I really turned up, how I dress, because, when people come in the back from me, I got to look the part. I got to look the part. And I was servicing everybody. That's why all of them, they at my table buying stuff. There I go right there playing with the brethren. No practice. I did this show with no practice because his bass player couldn't show up. The bass player couldn't show up. And he was down at the practice spot like, I need a bass player. And I got to play tonight. And they're like, Ramesses could do it. He's like, no, man, them cat tonight, man, no. He said, man, Ramesses could do it tonight with no rehearsal. So he came to me and said, my brethren, they say you can come do the show for me with no rehearsal. I said, yeah. He said, come on, man. You can't mess up the show. It's for a commercial for some big people, man. Are you serious, brethren? I said, yeah, man. Yeah, I could do the show. No rehearsal? Nah, you ain't got time to rehearse the show tonight, right? So he like, okay, man. He didn't have no choice but to say okay. So when I got there, he was like, Brethren, are you sure you could do the show? I said, listen, man. Go 1, 2, 3, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, and start. This is up in Santa Monica. This is up in Santa Monica for a commercial for Santa Monica, for the city of Santa Monica. That's how big reggae was. That this was on TV, a commercial for the city of Santa Monica to come to Santa Monica because everybody wanted to see reggae. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wanted to see reggae. I said, just start the song, man. Just start the song. Don't worry about me. Because I could play naturally because I used to put on the reggae radio station and just play the song before the song run out. So I was a natural. When the show was over, he came to me and said, Ramesses is mine. He said, man, me not lie. Some of them bass lines was better than the original one, man. I said, I know. I know they is. I'm a cold reggae bass player. I'm one of the best. It ain't too many reggae bass players in Jamaica better than me. What's the name? It's better than me. The bass player for Steel Pulse was better than me. The bass player from Oswald, I give it to him, was better than me. And my man Flabber Roots Radix was better than me. But the rest of them, I do them ugly. That's why Family Man looking at me crazy. Slime Robbie was better than me, yeah. See how he looking? I got two pictures though. I don't know. I got to get the other one. That's Family Man for Bob Marley. I got to get the other one because I told him, man, I'm trying to be like you, man. I told him, man, I'm trying to be the bad bass player like you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, certain brothers was crazy with it. This bass player in the middle, he's crazy with it. My brother Oswald. My queen was like, "You should have gotten a picture." I don't know. Back then, we wouldn't think about that. We just chilling. I ain't think about getting in a picture like that. But the reggae was doing real good, and they just sabotaged it. They sabotaged it with African music, King Sunny Ade, and Fela. They used them to sabotage it. Start playing that on the reggae show. Man, it's a reggae show. Why y'all don't have an African show? Because there ain't enough African music. They don't have it but fans. So they're going to come and steal fans from the reggae audience, you know? And so there never was no big beef. I'm showing you all this to show you there never was no beef, especially between Jamaicans and foundational Black Americans. That's not really true. You know what I'm saying? Because very few of them actually look down on us, especially the originals. The originals was cool. It was the next group that was fake. They was the ones, you know what I'm saying, that messed up the vibration. This is my brother Nazaria, one of the original Wailers. Rest in peace to him. He got unalived in Jamaica. He one of the original Wailers. He was the youngest one. It was Bob, Bunny, Peter, Vision, and Junior Brathwaite. This Junior Brathwaite right here. They put this picture in a documentary about him. My daughter, Daddy, I see you in the Yeah, I'm Junior Brathwaite. He was living there in Chicago, one of the original Wailers. That was a real positive brother. And this is how I kept up with Bunny Wailer, because he would go to Jamaica and live with Bunny Wailer, right? You feel me? And this is how I kept up with Bunny Wailer, because he would come and report to me when Bunny Wailer had the farm in Africa. And so that's why I balance myself between the two because they don't clash. This has nothing to do, me in that world has nothing to do with reparations. Not at all. It's got nothing to do with it. Those are two different things. You don't have to, this is not anti black immigrants. This is false. Just because some people that say they FBA be beefing, that's not FBA. People can't be FBA. FBA is just a different description than Black America. It's the same thing. FBA is Black American, just with the word foundation on it. There's no such thing as FBAs. That's like saying Black Americans. That's like seeing a Black American say something and say Black America is doing something. No, that's dude. How are you putting that on Black Americans? And that's what they're doing with FBA. There's some people that's FBA talking crazy, and then they say FBA be talking crazy. No, FBA is the same as Black American. It's just foundational Black American instead of Black American. That's it. The Abyssinians, yeah, them brethren, I was around them too. I wish I would have took pictures of everybody I was around. Rest in peace to Dennis Brown. Back then, we didn't have cameras on us, we didn't have cameras on us in the 70s and the 80s like that, I could have got a lot of pictures of a lot of brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? But I was dressing them. I was dressing the stars. So I'm just trying to let y'all know that FBA is just a new word. You know what I'm saying? FBA is just a new word for Black Americans. It's just a foundational in front of it. There's no such thing as a group. Dennis Brown passed away. It's my man, Winston Rodney, Burning Spear. See, I sold him a shirt. I was outside. I was guerrilla pimping with the, man, listen, I was guerrilla vending, man. I'm outside a big, giant concert. I probably made about $3,000 out there like that. See these people in the car? They want a shirt, too. I'm out there getting it. You know what I'm saying? The music is going, but not going as good like that. It's not going as good because they don't have no audience no more. The audience is gone. You know what I'm saying? The reggae audience is gone. You know what I'm saying? They stopped doing it the way they were supposed to do it. So the audience is gone. They didn't keep the same formula. So the audience is gone. It's hardly no reggae shows here. It'd be like some Jamaican parties with a bunch of regular Jamaicans, and it don't really be no Rasta reggae artists. Very seldom. Very seldom. They never replaced them. Like I can name a bunch of reggae artists from back then, but I bet you can't name a bunch now. You know what I'm saying? They didn't keep building it. They let it disintegrate. You know what I'm saying? They didn't keep building and building and building and building it. Messed the whole market up. You could have been a millionaire just working these shows. Rest in peace to Joseph Hill. See, I sold him that shirt. I had the silver ones just for me. I was the only one that had the silver ones. You had to get a gold one. It's got His Majesty's speech on the back. You know what I'm saying? It ain't so much bald head Jamaicans. It's the fact that the culture died. The culture died. You know what I'm saying? the culture didn't keep getting nourished. It died. All the big reggae shows is out in Europe, basically. That's where all the reggae shows is at now. The older generation reggae is good to listen to it, but it can't make no money. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my brother. Look how young they look. That's the brother from Third World. You see an Africa on his neck? I sold him that. Like, yeah, I sold him that. You know what I'm saying? I was dressing them. Afro beats didn't kill reggae. Reggae had been gone. Dancehall music killed reggae. Afro beats didn't kill reggae. That's not true. Yeah, Afro beats didn't kill reggae. Been dead. Reggae been dead now for years. You know what I'm saying? That's when Bunny Wailer came to LA. He did 3 hours. He did a 3-hour show in New York. I think a 3-hour show in Miami. A 3-hour show out in California. 3 hours he was on stage. Yeah, 3 hours. I'm just showing y'all ain't no hate. This is my culture. You know what I'm saying? This ain't got nothing to do with this don't have nothing to do with reparations. You don't gotta or Foundation of Black Americans. You don't gotta, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta hate on them. That has nothing to do with Foundation of Black Americans. That's all false. I don't have to, you don't have to pick one or another. Foundation of Black Americans is just a way to identify yourself. That's it. It's just like Black Americans. You could be a Black Americans and ain't got to hate. Foundation of Black Americans is just a replacement for the word Black Americans. That's it. I don't know why nobody just don't explain it. That's all it is. It's no longer Black Americans. It's Foundation of Black Americans. Okay? That's it. Shout out to my sister, Sister Carol. I should have got more autographed pictures from everybody. But I was at the record store. That's why I got that one. When I'm out in the street. That was somebody's fire alarm. Somebody's fire alarm is off. They'll turn it off. You know what I'm saying? We don't be discussing that type of stuff. You ain't gonna get no roster to talk about that, brother. You ain't gonna get no roster to talk about that. Only people that's not rostered will even say that. The fire department, they probably left the stove on. Just the Rastafarians. Haile Selassie. Oh, Haile Selassie was better than me too. Haile Selassie was one of the best because Haile Selassie, he could play and sing. He the lead singer and the bass player. Imagine that. He the bass player playing that rhythm and singing. The brethren with the long coat on in the army military hat. He the best bass player in the game. Ain't nobody better than Haile Selassie. Nobody. Not Robbie Shakespeare, not Family Man, none of them. Nobody better than Haile Selassie. That man play the bass and sing. You know how hard that is? It's like you got to be two separate people because the bass line don't go along with the singing. The bass line is one thing and the singing is something else. Yeah, he the best. He's the best. That's my brethren. I booked him in Hawaii. I was the one set him up to do them shows on Maui and Oahu. Yeah, that's my brethren. For sure. So there's not no real separation like people trying to say. They trying to say it's a separation, but it's not. I used to be selling these big patches that they could put on the back of their jacket. Bob Marley guitar player bought one. I'm outside again. There go my car right behind them. The little red, I had the little red Vega, I think, with the red and white leopard covers on the seats. And look, my table right outside. I'm like Guerilla. Oh, this is at the event in San Juan No. Yeah, this is the event in San Juan Capistrano. The owner was cool. I used to work there and in Ventura at his movie theater. Junior used to be trying to buy my clothes right off my back. Let me get that jacket, Aya. I was in Hawaii. Oof. I don't even remember. 345, like about 4 or 5 years. My queen got pregnant, and that's why I had to leave. She had 2 miscarriages, and then the miscarriage had nothing to do with the trip. So then one day she wanted to go to California and visit her mom and them. So she went to California to visit her mom and them, and found out she was pregnant. So when she went to the doctor told her, "You had 2 miscarriages. You can't fly back. You can't get on no plane, fly all the way to Hawaii. You're going to lose that baby. You're going to have another miscarriage." So that's why I had to leave. Because she was in Hawaii. She was pregnant. She was supposed to come back. I had a big house to grow in and everything. But I wouldn't trade all that for my first son. Because after she had him, she had another. That's how I had my first two sons. And that's why I ended up back in L.A. These pictures I'm showing you, I'm back in L.A. This is when I'm back. When I was first in L.A., I wasn't selling this stuff. So this is when I got back to L.A. But I had to come back. I had to go back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there go Al. That's my table right next to me. I be out there with a table, clock like $2,000, $2,500. You see what I'm saying? This one reggae was the biggest thing out. And I'm qualified. That's why I'm also saying I'm qualified to talk. I'm really him. As far as Black Americans, I'm at the top. If you pick the 5 top most experienced Black American Rastas, I'm in the top. I'm in the top 5. That's for sure. With my brethren Bongo, but I don't know about the East Coast. I don't know who's over there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm in the top 5 with the Rasta culture. So that's why, to me, it's not no conflict of interest to be FBA and push for reparations, because these still my brethren. So that's what make it confusing. Because these my brethren, that ain't got nothing to do with FBA. That ain't got nothing to do with getting reparations. FBA is just delineating. Delineating means to define precisely. That's all it means. That by saying we foundational Black Americans, we are defining ourselves precisely. Here go my man Haile Selassie. He was raised in the palace with His Majesty. My Ethiopian brethren. He played music too. He was raised in the palace with His Majesty. Facts. He told me first, I got some stories about His Majesty I don't even like to talk about. Yep, Haile Selassie. He was raised, he used to see His Majesty in the morning. He was in the palace. His name Isaac Haile Selassie. Real talk. And that's my brother right there. You know what I'm saying? So people got that. So, you know, anybody that's telling you is FBA versus, that's false. That's false. You know, anybody can get on the internet and say they anything. They go, yeah, we FBA, all that. They ain't even pushing for reparations. That's false. That's not what it is. Immigrants are not tethers. Tethers are specific people that latch on to the culture but don't like you. It's not just Black immigrants. They go to brothers from culture. I got Joseph Hill somewhere. Where Joseph at? I got Joseph somewhere. I might have showed Joseph already. Oh, yeah, I showed Joseph. You know what I mean? Oh, we lost a lot of these brethren. You know what I'm saying? See, I was in the mix. All them is my brethren. All them is my brethren. So this, like, what I'm going to do? I'm going to just, because I want reparations, I'm going to just turn on all my brethren. They don't go like that. Like, people got it wrong. It's not either or. FBA is designed to get our money from the American government and American businesses. That's what FBA is. It's to get our money from the businesses, okay? That's what it's not. It's not, it has nothing to do with hating on immigrants. That is false. So all my brothers and sisters that's watching me, stop listening to false information. That information is false. False, false, false. Look, this is what reparations is about, okay? This is who we beefing with, all right? This is who we beefing with.
13 corporations that profited from slavery. So here we go. Number 1, J.P. Morgan Chase. Between 1831 and 1865, two predecessor banks, Citizens Bank and Canal Bank in Louisiana, accepted approximately 13,000 enslaved individuals as collateral on loans and took ownership of approximately 1,250 of them when the plantation owners defaulted on the loans. Number 2, New York Life. An insurance company sold insurance policies on enslaved Africans. Number 3, Wachovia. Two historical predecessors owned enslaved Africans and accepted them as payment. Number 4, N.M. Rothschild and Sons Bank in London. Nathan Mayer Rothschild, the banking family's 19th century patriarch, made personal gains by using enslaved Africans as collateral in dealings with a slave owner. I have a list of this, so if I stumble, it's because I have a lot of chicken scratch. Number 4, Norfolk Southern offered slaveholders $180. That's $3,379 today. This article was written in 2013. So that's $3,379 today a piece for enslaved Africans they would rent to the railroad for 1 year. The Central Georgia, another company aligned with Norfolk Southern Line today, valued slaves at $31,303. Today that would be $663,033. Did I say that right? Yes. $663,033. Hopefully that came out right. Sounds weird. Number 5, U.S. Today found that their parent company, E.W. Scripps and Gannett, had links to the slave trade. Number 6, Fleet Boston. Evolved from an early financial institution, Providence Bank founded John Brown, who was a slave trader and owned ships used to transport enslaved Africans. The bank financed Brown's slave voyages and profited from them. Brown even reportedly helped charter what became Brown University. Number 7, CSX used slave labor to construct portions of U.S. rail lines under the political and legal system that was in place more than a century ago. Two enslaved Africans were John Henry and Reuben. The record states they were to be returned clothed when they arrived to work for the company. Number 8, Canadian National Railway Company. The Mobile and Ohio, now part of Canadian National, valued their slaves lost to the war and emancipation at $199,691 on record. That amount is currently worth $2.2 million. Whew. Number 9, Brown Brothers Harriman, the oldest and largest private investment bank, founded 1818, owned hundreds of enslaved Africans and financed the cotton economy by lending millions to Southern planters, merchants, and cotton brokers. Number 10, Brooks Brothers, high-end suit retailer, got their start selling slave clothes to various slave traders in the 1800s. They got their start by selling slave clothes. Number 11, Barclays. British multinational banking and financial services company headquartered in London has now conceded that companies brought over the years may have been involved in the slave trade. Number 12, Lehman Brothers. This business empire started in the slave trade. Quote from Joe Pelizzotto: "This is a sad part of our history or our heritage. We're deeply apologetic. It was a terrible thing. There's no one sitting in the United States in the year 2005, hopefully, who would ever in a million years defend the practice." 13, Aetna. Aetna? Aetna. U.S. largest health insurer, apologized for selling policies in the 1850s that reimbursed slave owners for financial losses when the enslaved Africans they owned died. Aetna has long acknowledged that for several years shortly after its founding in 1853, that the company may have insured the lives of slaves. A few other people a few other corporations, companies that profited from slavery: Princeton, Harvard Law School, Tiffany & Co., Bank of America, Yale University, and Wells Fargo.
That's who we beefing with. Them companies right there. So people need to get the facts straight. That's why we foundational Black Americans, so we can trace our lineage and get our reparations. It's that simple. It's lineage. It's about proving our lineage. That's it. Somebody asked me about Haile Selassie. Well, the thing with Haile Selassie is Haile Selassie is the direct descendant of King Solomon. Here's the story here. The story is primarily found in the Kemetic Rasta, the Ethiopian national epic. In this text, the Queen of Sheba is named Makeda. She traveled to Jerusalem and learned from Solomon's wisdom. According to the Kemetic Rasta, Solomon tricked Makeda into sleeping with him by using a spicy meal and thirst as a ruse. Menelik, she returned to her kingdom, gave birth to Menelik I, who established the Solomonic dynasty in Ethiopia. Basically. So that's how the Solomonic dynasty got, He wanted to sleep with her. She said no. He said, okay, you don't have to, as long as you don't drink none of my water. And when he served her food, he put a lot of spice in it. She drank the water, so he got to sleep with her, and she got pregnant. And then everything transferred to Ethiopia because Solomon was foul, David was foul. All of them was crazy. So then energy went to Ethiopia because of all the negativity from the people in Israel, from the blacks in Israel. So everything transferred to Ethiopia. Menelik went and took the Ark of the Covenant. When he grew up, Sheba's son, he went and took the Ark of the Covenant and took it back to Ethiopia, where it's still at today. And they made a whole bunch of replicas, so you would never find the real one. It's deep. Yeah, it was. I'm writing a book about that. All the way back to ancient China, ancient Kemet. They found hashish in the pyramids. I mean, somebody's tomb they found hashish. Yeah, that's old, bro. It's a plant. The plant's been around. It's a plant. It's not a pharmaceutical. It's a plant. It's a plant, bro. It's been around. It's been around for a long time. That ain't nothing new. I'm writing a book on all that. But for those that just want proof, here you go right here. Traces of cannabis, including THC, have been discovered in mummified remains such as those of Ramesses the Great, myself, and other individuals dating back thousands of years. It's written in all of the papers and all that. These findings suggest that cannabis held significance in ancient Egyptian society, not only for practical uses, but also potentially for medicinal, religious, and spiritual purposes. The Babylon just be telling y'all stuff. Yeah, some of the stuff they wrap the mummies in is hemp. But hemp is not the same. Hemp is not marijuana, but they from the same family. But you can't smoke hemp. Hemp don't have no buds on it. Hemp just make cloth and paper and stuff. It don't have no buds. Only the female marijuana plant have buds. I'm writing a book on it. I got about 200 something pages. As soon as Trump legalizes it, I'm going to finish it. I don't want to finish it till they legalize it. Because I don't want to write it like it's illegal and then they legalize it. And then my book won't be no good. My daughter keep asking me, Dad, when you going to fit? So far, just 200 pages. All my pictures of me up in the hills growing. You see the brethren in the patch? These are young ones. I really could grow. See them buds? Them buds ain't no joke. I need to copy this one, put it up. No, I was really him. I was really him in Hawaii. Is that? Oh. How many Black Americans you know? That was out in Hawaii doing that. Not necessarily just because they used the hemp don't mean they was using the marijuana. Hemp is a totally different plant. It's just like you got different type of cactus. Look at me out in the patch. I'm out in the patch. That big ass bud. I'm in the mountains up there by the volcano. Yeah, that's my book right here on cannabis. Once they legalize it, I probably got another. I got probably another 100 pages to be done. I grew ruderalis, sativa, and indica. Ruderalis, sativa, and indica. All three strands at that time. It was called it was called Tahitian Treat because I had my own strain. It was my own strain. Look at them buds. Ooh. It was called Tahitian Treat. Look at them buds, boy. Stop playing. Boy, you know I was killing the game. Look. Can I get a good shot up close? The camera don't want to cooperate. I was killing the game, boy. Look. See me in the bushes on some guerrilla warfare? How many people was my age, young like that in their 20s out there doing that from Chicago in the mountains? I tell you, man, I'm different. Whoa, what? Me and my brethren out in Hawaii on Black Sand Beach. Just so you know, I'll be making up stories or nothing like that. Everything I say is legitimate. Record label getting off the ground popping. Boy, remember when the airbrushing was popping? And my man used to hook me up. I need to get some of these pictures and transfer them, take a picture of them and put them up on the internet so people can see. I ain't joking. You know what I'm saying? I ain't joking. You know what I'm saying? I was really a good grower. I learned quick. Let me see if I can take a picture and put them up here. I don't want nobody to think I'm joking. That's outside. No heat, no nothing. And out in the elements. Catching my own water, cooking food outside. Like one of the original foundational Black American trailblazers. You know what I'm saying? On everything. My book gonna be fire, but I could write. You know how many books I could write? Oh my God. I gotta write a bunch of them when I finish this first one. I gotta write some more. Because nobody would believe this stuff unless you told them. To be young like that, I was way out. You know what I'm saying? Gone from my parents, gone from everybody. I'm gone. Young like that. Now you tell me what they look like. Straight from Chicago. This is my second crop. The first one I only had like 8 plants. This one I had so many. I had about 300-400. I couldn't even find them all. Look. That's 3 different pictures. That's 3 different patches. I had patch here, patch there. But I had a lot of patches. How they look. Look at the one in the middle. Look at them buds. Boy, look. Look at the one in the middle. Look at them buds, man. Buds like, wow. The one up top, too. I should have took individual pictures so you could really. Like, wow. You know what I'm saying? I was really, yeah. Heck yeah. I was killing them. Put a pound under each arm. All of us, about 5 of us, the reggae band, because everybody had places they was growing. Get on the plane, $26. Fly from the Big Island to Oahu. Drive up to the spot where the mobsters was at. Boom. They come look at your stuff, tell you how much they going to give you. You look at it, be like, okay, 23, 28, like that. You know what I'm saying? I think when I went over there, I had 2 pounds. I think I got like 4,500. 4,500. You know how much money that was in the 80s? That was a lot of damn money in the 80s. 2,200 a pound in the 80s. Well, back here they selling pounds for what? 400 for regular. I'm out there making 22, growing it myself. Yep, I got 22 for one and I think 23 for the other one. Because they look at each one and tell you a different price. We was like in a room for some big old, like big giant Hawaiian Samoans. I don't know what they was. And they had Uzis. And there was like 3 of them. And they just stand up against the wall not saying nothing. And then it's a long table. And we sitting there around the table with our stuff on the table. And then there's a room in the back. And the dude would come out the room and take them back there for whoever's in that room. He'd come back and lay them down till you say, 23 or 25. Then you go take your mess at 27, 22. Take your mess 28, 27, like that. And then when you agree, then they come, get all up and come throw the money up on the table. You know what I'm saying? Then we, boom, go get some new camouflage outfits, get some new keyboards, some new guitars, and go back to Hawaii, throw a show, make another 3, 4, throw a show, make some money. Everybody come, have our girlfriends working the dough. Get up there with our camouflage on now. Grower boots, the green grower boots you wear when you in the growing. We get on stage. Police in helicopter, search for marijuana. Police in the street. And if you continue to burn down the earth, we are going to burn down the cave fields. And we get up there and sing about weed. Oh, I swear to God. We get up on the stage and sing all the weed songs. I got me a new keyboard. Now I got me a Steinberger. And I got me a DX7 Yamaha. Hey, it's up. To be young, gifted, and black. And give food stamps. We were getting food stamps. Like a lot of food stamps. Like Hawaii at that time was getting the most food stamps because they didn't hardly have no people. With a whole lot of money, and we get food stamps. We go to the health food stuff, man, get some chocolate macadamia nuts, get some non-alcoholic beer, bust a non-alcoholic beer, to Bush or whoever the president was, to Reagan. Thank you, Reagan. I swear to God, you can't make this stuff up. To Ronald Reagan. Basically. Not to mention the women. The weather. And all that. And so I'm not hating on immigrants or nobody. I've been around people from all around the world. I got global friends. I wouldn't hate on no brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? I get on everybody's case though. I mean, I had a woman out there, so I wasn't able to deal with no whole bunch of women until like she left. And then when she left, I went and broke the rules. I wasn't married. I still was my girlfriend, but I'm my queen, but still. But it was like, they tourists. So women, when they go on trips, they do stuff they don't do at home. So they tourists. They're from Brazil, Germany, Russia, Africa, all the different countries, New York, Chicago, San Francisco. I mean, the Black American women especially, because they way out in Hawaii. Back then you got these long dreadlocks, you exotic, and they all the way. So when they pull up and you somewhere and they say, hey y'all, you say, what's up? They're like, where y'all from? We from Chicago. Oh, hell no, girl. And so they're like, we at this hotel. You know what I'm saying? We go get them whatever they need to get. That was another thing too. It wasn't just like that. We was looking out for them. We know where to get everything. They want herb, we get them the best. They be happy. They're like, y'all so cool. And we wouldn't be trying to sleep with them either. That would just happen on their own. They just be choosing to do that. We just be looking out, especially for the sisters. We were just looking out for the sisters. A lot of the sisters, we didn't even sleep with. We was looking out for them. But you had certain women, that's what they wanted to do. They out there on the island with the water. They want to have exotic sex. Like you got dreadlocks. Back then, dreadlocks was like, all they want to do is like rub your hair and feel your, because that was like unheard of. Dreadlocks was like mystical. Everybody love you once they get long. When they was first growing, nobody didn't like you, but when they get long, everybody love you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody love you when they get long. You know how people are. You know what I'm saying? It was just like that everywhere then. If you was a Rasta, you was the hottest item out at that time. You know what I'm saying? And then being on stage too. Oh my God. You on stage, they had you. That's how that went. You on stage. You like a super duper star. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's up with that, y'all. It ain't really no beef like that. There's not no beef between different blacks. That has nothing to do with foundational Black Americans. Those are just people that's identifying as foundational Black Americans beefing. It would be no different than if they was Black Americans. So the term foundational Black Americans got nothing to do with them beefing. They just beefing. But it's cool to call them, FBA. Say I'm beefing with some FBA. That'd be like I'm beefing with some Black Americans. So that's cool. But say I'm beefing with some FBA. Don't say I'm beefing with FBA. That's like I'm beefing with Black Americans. You can't beef with Black Americans. You beef with some Black Americans. That's all you got to do. You know what I'm saying? This is when I first got back, and the baby was finna be born. Now, this is when I got back from Hawaii. Working on my nunchuck game. You know what I'm saying? It was a great experience. It's better than just staying in Chicago your whole life. It was better than going to college. It was better than all that. I was on my way to Africa, though. You know what I'm saying? Hey, April. I was on my way to Africa, though. And I decided not to go. No, I don't know no martial arts. I just learned how to do the nunchucks on my own. Those the ones with the chain on it, so if they got a sword, they can't cut it. But no, I don't know no martial arts. I don't know no karate or nothing like that. We was just messing with nunchucks. We grew up with Bruce Lee. I mean, where was I going to go? I was going to go to East Africa. Most likely I would have ended up in Kenya probably. But I was just going to go to Egypt, do a deal with Egypt, go to Ethiopia. I might have ended up in Ethiopia, but most likely I would have ended up in Kenya. But I was going to go to East Africa, though. I was going to Tahiti first because they got islands with nobody on them. We was going to go to Tahiti. That's why I breeded my herb called the Tahitian treat. I was going to take those seeds to Tahiti. Then I was going to go in them bushes in Tahiti and grow me some herb in Tahiti and sell it to the French tourists. Then the next stop was going to be, I think, India, China, and then East Africa. Let me see. I always forget which one of them come up first. Yeah, it was going to be China, India, and then Africa. That was the direction I was going to go. I wanted to come around and end up in the East. I didn't want to go around and end up in the West. I wanted to go to all the like countries that got like certain knowledge. You know, certain stuff I could learn in India and China. I could learn, you know, certain stuff. I just made that up. I don't know where I got that from. I just made it up. Man, I'm going to go the other way so I can come up in East Africa. Man, I'm going to go to China, India, then I'll be in East Africa. I ain't going past Europe and go to West Africa. I'm going past Europe. I'm like, I ain't flying out of New York, going through past Europe and going, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go the third world way. And come up on East Africa instead of West Africa. Yep, I had it planned out already. But I didn't want to leave Black Americans over here. You know, my guardian angel came to me and said, if when you get to Africa, if you turn on TV and found out that Black Americans had been hurt and was being attacked, how would you feel? And I was like, oh, I'm going back. I wouldn't want to be over there and something happened to y'all over here. I ain't with that. Because back then, going to Africa was like escaping. You escaping. I'm going to Africa. Y'all going to die over here. That's what that used to be like. So that's the thing I don't like to go into Africa because people's going to Africa, you kind of running and you kind of thinking something going to happen to them. So imagine going to Africa knowing something might happen to your mama and your daddy, all your cousins that couldn't go. How's that a positive philosophy? So I started realizing this is not a positive philosophy. That I think I'm going to go over there and escape and leave the rest of them over there. No, we gonna ride together. We all going to die together. That's what I realized. I'm like, man, I'm not leaving Black people over there. You know what I'm saying? See, I'm a real revolutionary. I'm really that. I'm like, nah, I can't. When I thought about that, because my guardian angel asked me, say, if you go over there and something happen to them, how you feel? I was like, man, I'm going back. I'm going to feel terrible. And plus, I realized I couldn't get away because I was trying to get away from the white man. I was trying to get away from the white man, but when I got way up in the mountains, where I showed you where I was growing at, and all them airplanes, the helicopters was flying over me, that's when I said, oh, you can't get away from me in the air. You know what I'm saying? So once I realized that's another thing made me come back. Because I'm like, he in the air. So I'm like, I'm not going to Africa and have him flying over me, poison me. He's going to poison all of Africa. I don't want to go back and be close to him. He ain't going to spray no poison on himself. You know what I'm saying? That's another reason. I'm like, I got to go. Man, if this my enemy, I want to stand right here. I don't want to be over here because then my enemy just, you know what I'm saying? If I'm over here, my enemy could just do that. So I changed my philosophy. I'm like, no, I better stay close to this mug. I got to stay right close to dude. So if he drops some spray, he gets sprayed too. That's why they be wanting to get us out of their areas. Over what stuff? I lived under green tarps. We had like 4 green tarps out there. I made my bed out of like logs. You know, cut the logs right here where this is split. You got 2 logs here. You know, right where the fork is in the log, cut it with a long thing and nail it into the ground like that. Then you just put a pole like that, put a pole like that, and then stack poles across. Pop, 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 and then you got a bed. You know what I'm saying? 2 long poles, and then a bunch of guava poles across. Then throw a couple mattresses on it, and you got a bed. You make your own bed frame, throw that on there. Boom, got your green tarps. You know what I'm saying? So can't no helicopter see you because the army was looking for us. See, the army was up there. You had the sheriff's helicopter, would be a blue one or a white one. Then you had the big Chinook, the military. They looking for it too. They call them Green Harvest. Green Harvest is looking for you out there. Yeah. Yeah. I was out there. Hey, that's why I tell you, really guerrilla warfare. You see the dates, right? I was out there, right? In 1980, 83, 84, 85, 86, and look who was out there. Operation Green Harvest, right? Nearly 22,000 pounds of marijuana was confiscated on Maui, Molokai, Kauai. I was on the Big Island. I was out there with the Green Harvest. On my soul. On my soul. On my soul. Hey, look, we up there one day, and the big Chinook come, the one that got the 2 blades, the big green one, the big Chinook come. Choo, 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 choo. Right over top of my property, the big Chinook. I tell everybody, let's go. We go jump in the station wagon. We ski down the road, down to the main highway. Boom, we going down, right? So we going down the main highway. I hear choo 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 choo. That mug get right over my yellow station wagon, the Chinook. And it's following me down the mountain. On my soul. It followed us a long way. That big old military helicopter was over top of our car. Then it veered off. We went down to the beach. I'm down there. Oh, man. They're going to be up there. They up there hiding, right? Oh, man. So then finally it got a little late. I finally got some nerves. I'm like, all right, y'all, let's go. And we drove back up to the property and went in the property, and nothing was touched, and no military was there, and all my plants was there. I was like, oh, God. Which was stupid. Just me and my brethren should have went. We should have left my queen and her daughter down in the lowlands and came back and got them. But we all went up there. When I got there, I was just ready for them to run out the bush. Freeze! I'm ready for them to run out. It's the United States military. This the United States military. Green Harvest, Hawaii Department of Defense. Operation Green Harvest. I was there on the front line, boy. Man, I was there on the front lines. Guerrilla warfare, like for real. And they would take your stuff and fly off with it hanging at the bottom, hanging from the bottom of the helicopter. On my soul. They would come down in rope sometime and just cut it and never touch the ground because you had crazy dudes out there like Vietnam veterans that got booby traps and all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I kid you not. You can't make this stuff up. My book gonna be good. How did it feel living in nature? It felt great. Eating off the land, picking fruit. I lived in a guava. It was a tropical rainforest with guavas everywhere. Hey, look. So I be eating these guavas all the time, right? Which is packed with vitamin C, right? And it was some yellow jackets in the tree. And me and my boy was moving the log. I'm backing up and the log hit the yellow jacket's crib and they came out and stung me like sting, 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 sting. And you know nothing happened? Do you know they stung me and I didn't get a swelling or nothing? And it only hurt when they stung me. That's it. No pain, no swelling or nothing. And I know it was because I was full of that vitamin C from them guavas. So I called a neighbor at the end of the block. Oh, I went down there. I think I went down there and got her. And she came down. My neighbors, it was a white lady lived there. It was two people in there. It was a white lady. She came down. And I showed her the yellow jackets. I said, I got to get these yellow jackets out of here. She said, you can't get them out of here. She said, you can't move them. You're gonna have to call the state or the city to come get them. Them is yellow jackets. They was living in the tree. Man, I'm like the king of the jungle. I'm like, she crazy. So first I went to the health food store. I went and bought a big bag of garlic powder and cayenne pepper. And I threw it in their house. You know what I'm saying? I threw the cayenne pepper and the garlic powder in their house. I know they gonna move. Some of them was flying out of there. They was all red and white with the powder on them. Say, yeah. But like a day or two later, they was still going in and out of there. The whole tree had red and white stuff around it. I'm like, oh man, that didn't work. So I got mad. And you know, we had landers with kerosene and kerosene like oil. I went and sprayed. No, they hadn't came over here yet. I went and sprayed kerosene in the hole in the tree. I went and squirted kerosene in there and threw a match. It said, "Food," and they was flying out on fire. The next day, the hole was burnt up. It wasn't a yellow jacket nowhere. They'd have never come back. They'd have never come back. I tell you about the king of the jungle. Stop playing with me. They'd have never come back. I burnt all of them up in there. You should have seen them. Like 30 of them flying out on fire. Yeah, stop playing with me. I'm from Chicago. It's direct. When you growing the little babies, the ants like to bite them in half. And I had like a net with a bunch of small bags with the sprouts in there. But you can't stop ants. You know, that was for the bigger animals can't get in there, but the ants gonna go ahead and get in there. So I got tired of the ants. So I seen where the ants was coming from. So I followed the ants back to their ant house, and I dug up a hole, and I put thousands of ants in a plastic bottle, and then I filled it with water. It was full of ants, and I filled it with water, put the top on it, and all the ants passed away in the water, right? Then I went and I poured them dead ants around the border. Like, if this is where my plants is on this in the net, I went and poured the dead ant juice around like that. And I swear to God, man, the next day I went and watched, and the ants came out. And when they got to them piles of dead ants, they went the other way. They said, "It's the." Hey, listen, I swear to God, when the ants came and got to that dead ant border, well, I had them dead ants in a border of dead ants, a lot of them. When the ants came and seen all them dead ants, they was like, "Don't go over there. That's where ants die. Ants die over there." I swear to God, I could see them communicating with their little things, and they went the other way. They never came back. When they seen all them ants was dead, they was like, "This the dead ant spot." And shit worked too. Spooked the hell out them ants. They never came back. They went somewhere else. They never came back because it was like an ant cemetery. Like, oh my soul. I swear April would do that. What kind of, I was young, I was only in my 20s. You got to think back now. Man, bro, you was way out. It worked. I watched them. They walked up to them pals and them dead ants. They was like, they look ants, their eyes got big. I'm just exaggerating, but that's what I imagine. Because they little feelers. And it's like, ants come a bunch of them, and they checking all them dead ants, and now nobody crossed the dead ant line. They turned around. Boy, you know how deep you got to be to think that's gonna work. I said, I know what to get y'all out of here. A bunch of dead ass ants. Man, we kill ants over here. You know what I'm saying? AK ant killers. I gangbang. I gangbang. I gangbang. Hey, I swear to God, you can't make this up. I gangbang the ants. Man, they walked up, they synced all them dead ants. They was like, and they went, they never came back. I'm like, yeah, this is why ants die. You know what I'm saying? Stop coming trying to eat up my plants. And then if you got snails, all you gotta do is get a cup and put some beer in it. And the snail's gonna get in there and drink the beer and fall in there and die. That's what I did for the snails. I would get up and I would have a cup with like 20 snails dead in each cup, dump it out, put some beer, some more. I wiped out the whole snail population too. After a while, wasn't none of them. They all got drunk and died. That's how you get rid of snails. Beer. For some kind of way, they fall in there and they die. They'll crawl over in the cup. But some kind of way with the beer, it kill them. Maybe they get drunk. Maybe they get drunk and drown. I don't know, but it worked. Everybody wants your weed. Everybody. The ants want it when it's little. They don't eat the green part. They just cut your stem in half. They like the little white stem. The ants. The ants like the little white stem on the babies. When they get big, the ants don't like them. The ants only like the sprouts. Like they alfalfa sprouts or something. They eat the white part. So you get there, all your babies will be laying over, cut in half, where the ants eat the white part. Then the snails like to crawl out on it. Right? The snail, right? The snail crawl in there, right? All of that. For real. Everybody eat it. When they get ready, the birds come looking for seeds, plucking in your buds. The pigs eat it. One morning, I had a patch right there, and I'm asleep right here, and I hear crunch, 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 crunch. I wake up, it's like 4 or 5 cows eating a whole patch. They had walked all the way from the end of the block with the neighbors. Because like 3 or 4 days before, I had a patch way over there, and I came, and they was all ripped off the ground. I thought somebody stole them. I'm like, they wasn't even all the way ready yet. Who just snatched these out the bag? Man, about 3, 4, 5 days later, I'm laying back chilling. I hear crunch, crunch. I wake up. It's 3, 4 cows over there, 5 cows eating all the weed. And cows, and I was like, go, go. They just chewing, looking at me. And finally, I kept, and then they walked all slow down there. I said, they done found my weed. They probably smelled it. The wind probably was blowing down there where the farm is at. They smelled it. They done walked all the way down from the end of the block through because I was in the rainforest. From that farm through that rainforest to eat up my weed. Everybody wants your weed. The police, the ants, the birds want the seeds, the cows want the pigs. Everybody want it. Just, it's crazy. It was like 3 or 4 of them. They'll eat up everything. They would have kept coming back, but I harvested. They probably smelt them buds when they started getting ready. At a different stage, everybody wanted. I just had somebody come over here tomorrow. How you gonna be a Kemetic Rasta, man? Watch the video. Bad. You know what I'm saying, bro? I don't owe you no explanation. I would have got ghosts, but I don't think he had no ghosts. Like I was up in the rainforest, so it's not a whole bunch of animals up there. The only reason them cows up there because dude had a farm at the end of the block. Other than that, nobody was on my whole block except the neighbors all the way down to the end. I had that whole. I was in a rainforest. I was on the 8th row, and they pave each row. They pave a road like every 2 or 3 years, and they had only paved 2 roads. So it would have been years before they even paved my road. He asked me if I seen a tiger in Hawaii. You believe that? It's unbelievable. He asked me if I seen a tiger in Hawaii. Oh, man. He said a tiger. No, Hawaii ain't near nothing. Like Hawaii not near nothing. Hawaii's is the place that's most surrounded by water. Yeah, my friends seen that man dog. They seen him twice. Hawaii's surrounded by the most water of any place in the world. It's in the middle of the ocean by itself. For real. It's a 5-hour flight from California to get there. And it ain't nothing out there. You in the middle of the ocean. That's why it's a military base. It's all Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard, everybody's in Hawaii, all the military. They got so much military out there, you wouldn't believe it. That's their first line of defense on the West Coast. They got the mountains. It's snow up on the top of the mountains. So imagine it's warm tropical air, you see snow up on the mountain. So that's it, y'all. Yeah, it's one of the Polynesian islands, but it's a long way from all the other islands. So look, that's what's up. You know what's going on. People, I had somebody come say, how you going to be a Kemetic Rasta and FBA? They don't even know what FBA is. They think lineage got something to do. A lot of people that's FBA ain't learning nothing. They don't know what it means. They think it's automatically anti anything else. They don't know it's the same as Black America. You know what I'm saying? They don't know. Somebody got to teach these people what foundational Black American is. Foundational Black American don't necessarily trace all the way back to America. That might trace anywhere. Foundational Black America, we just tracing back to slavery. But once you pass slavery, you could be from anywhere. You could be from South America. You could be from here. You could be from East Africa. When you trace back. So people really just don't know what it is. Like, we was Black Americans, but our bloodline could trace anywhere. And some people just hell on bent on saying, oh no, we Native Americans. Like, who is we? It's a lot of different people. A guide on the roadmap to financial freedom. There ain't no, when you hear people telling you about financial freedom, they making money telling you. Okay? So financial freedom, you just got to work and you got to figure it out. Because you can get into a business that's big today and fall tomorrow. Look at Blockbuster. Look at Toys R Us. So there's no guarantee on how you're going to make no money. Okay? If you look at all of the money gurus on Instagram that's telling you how to make money, I bet you they Instagram monetized and they making money off of Instagram. I bet you they're going to sell you a book. That's how they making money. Selling you a book on how to make money. And so when you're talking about financial freedom, you got to try to figure it out. What business can you do? What could you do that somebody else ain't already doing? You know what I'm saying? You got to figure it out because it might be a good business, but it might be already oversaturated. So it's like you got to try to figure it out. But the first thing you want to do is don't spend no damn money. Don't spend no money. Go to work and sit your ass down and put your money up. That's what people don't want to do. They want to go to work and party. They want to go to work and buy drinks. They want to go to work and do this. If I had to choose, would I drive the public bus or a garbage truck? I mean, I don't know. If I got the choice between the two, who pay the most? You know what I'm saying? Who pay the most? How many hours is it? How much I get paid? How many days I got to work? What does it entail? Can I make some more money while I'm doing this, or is this taking all my time? Well, this is the only money I got. How much money is it? I had to consider all of that. Me, I'm not working for nobody to retirement. I'm retirement age. I ain't had to do that. I'd rather not have a lot of money than to work for you till I'm 65, 67. I'd rather figure it out, make a money here, there, whatever. I'd rather do that. I'm not sitting nowhere working for nobody no 40 years. You crazy? You out your damn mind. I'm not doing that. Look, I'm 67. I was able to avoid it. I used to work for the U.S. Treasury Department. When I worked for the Treasury Department, it was like 1978. I was 20 years old. And a lady was retiring. And she was retiring. And she was like 65. And I synced the little retirement party and the little watch she got and stuff. And I was like, okay, she's been working here 45 years. So for me to do that, I got to work here for 45 years, and I only get 2 weeks vacation for a long time. Then I get 3. Y'all want me to come in here for 45 years? So as a young person, I didn't like that. As a young person, I ain't like that. I didn't like that. Now, I worked there, but I didn't like that. I did not like that. Mm-mm. I would have just retired 2 years ago. Oh, hell no. I done been around the world and now, yeah, I can't find my baby. I done did all that. There ain't no way. On top of that, here's what the kicker. Every day I got to ride the bus 2 hours a day. An hour to work and an hour home, right? That's 10 hours a week, right? 10 hours a week, right? That's 40 hours a month I got to ride the bus, right? 40 hours times 52 equal 2,000 some hours. I got to do that for 40 years. That times 40 equals 8320. Divide 8320 by 24. That equals 3,466. Divide that by 365. That means I got to ride the bus for 9 years. To get to work, if you got a driver get to work an hour there, an hour back for 40 years, you're going to be on the bus or in your car for 9 years. You're going to spend 9 years going and coming home from work. 9 years. Do the math. I'm too smart for my own good. I was really good at math. And for you to work for 40 years to retire from 20 to 65, 2 hours a day, an hour to work, hour back, that's going to be 9 years out your life. Going to work and coming home. Just going to work, come on, going to be 9 goddamn years. Do the math. Somebody do the math. 9 years. Do the math. 9 years you're gonna spend on the bus or driving back home, to work and back home. Do the math. See, I was too smart. I added that up. I said, hell no. 9 years of your life just going to work and coming home. You ain't making no money either. For 9 years, you ain't making no money. They don't pay you. They only pay you when you get there. Them other 2 hours is free. You giving it to them. Because one day I got to work, when I worked for the Treasury Department, I was like 15 minutes late. And she said, you 15 minutes late. I said, well, just keep your 15 minutes. But I said, for real, you should have paid me when I left home. When you get through playing. I was supposed to get paid when I left home. Okay? I started work at 9. I left home at 8. I should have started getting paid at 8 o'clock. I get off at 5. I get home at 6. I'm supposed to get paid from 8 to 6. The lady said, I didn't think about that. You're right. They cheating us. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. She said, no, hell no, don't worry about it. They cheating your dumb ass too. And you sweat me for 15 minutes, and I had to get down here. I don't live 15 minutes away. See how cruel they are? I don't live 15 minutes away. So you ain't considering how far I had to come to get here? And you talking about a stinking ass 15 minutes? Baby, bye. From 1978, right? Till you would have been working from 1978 to 40 years. Till 65 years old. And I was 65 years old 2 years ago. But I didn't start at 20. So I used 20, right? So I used 20. I wasn't 20 years old. See what I'm saying? So that's why y'all say the math ain't right. Because I didn't use my real. I used 20 years old. I was 20 years old. So I might have been 20 years old. But if I was 20 years old, that was definitely 1978. I was born in 1958, and I was 20 years old. That's the year I started growing my dreadlocks. So I was 20. And I would have been working from 20 to 65. So yeah, it's 45 years. So I don't even think I did the math right. It's like 45 years, not 40. So it's 45 years. So let me do it over. It's 45 years, right? No, it's 45 years from, if you work until you're 65 and you start when you're 20, that's 45 years. Wait a minute. I started in 1978. If you're 20 years old and you work till you're 65, that's 45 years. Am I not correct? How many years is from 20 to 65? That's 45 years. That ain't 45 years. I'm not adding up the years. I'm adding up how long you got to work. You got retirement is at 65. If you start working at 20, that's 45 years. Am I correct? That's 45 years, okay? So if you're on the bus 2 hours every day, that's 10 hours a week. Time 52. That's 520 a year, hours a year. It gives some, it takes some. Times 40, right? So that's 20,800 hours divided by 24 equals 866 days divided by 365. Wait a minute, I did something wrong, but I got to do it over again. 2 hours a day, 2 hours a week, that's 10 hours a week, times 52 weeks in a year equal 520 hours, times 45 years. Now you divide that by 24 hours. That gives you how many days you got. About 24 hours, that's how many days you got. And then you divide that by 365. Oh, that ain't right. Something ain't doing right. I got to do the math again. I had it right the first time. You go into work, it's 10 hours every week, right? 10 hours every week. 10 hours every week times, that's 10 hours a week going to work and coming home, times 52 weeks. That's how many hours? 520 hours a year. You're working 45 years, so that time, 45 years equal 23,000 some hours. Now I got to divide these hours by 24. Oh, that's why I'm making my mistake. I divide these hours by 24. That's 900 and something days divided by 24. No, I'm doing it wrong. Yeah, dang, I'm getting confused. I had it right the first time. No, it's more than 2 years. It's more than 2 years. It's way more than 2 years. It's way more than 2. Let me do it again. It's more than 2 years. It's like 5 or 7 years. It might be 2 years, though. It might be just 2 years. Let me do it again. 10 hours a week times 52 weeks times 45 years. That's how many hours it is. 23,000 hours. Now you got to divide that by 24. That tell you how many days it is. 975 days. 975 days divided by 365. Yeah, 2.5. I had it wrong the first time. Over 2 years. So you're on the bus for like 2.5 years. The first time I did it wrong, I did it wrong. Yeah, you on the bus for 200. You on the bus for 2.5 years. For 2 years and like 6 months or some shit like that on the goddamn bus. But think about that. You on the bus. By the time you retire, you done been on the bus for two years, like 2 years or 6 months, 2 years or 7 months, like over 2.5 years on the bus or in your car going to work and back. The first time I did it wrong, I know I came out with 9. Yeah, over 2.5 years. And that's just if it's an hour there and back. Yeah, if it's an hour there and back. And it's less than this because you don't go to work some days. I didn't take off days because you have off days, right? So I didn't take off Christmas and all that. So basically, with your vacation and all that, 2 years for sure, you're going to be on the bus or you in your car, on commuting back and forth to work. 2 years of your life. Boy, that's a long time just to be getting to work and back. 2 years? Ain't no way. At 2 years, they don't pay for. You don't get paid for that. 2 free years commuting back and forth to work. You know how long that is to be in the car or on the bus or whatever? Come on, man. And they don't pay for that. And want you to be on time. That ain't counting how long it take you to get dressed for work. We don't want to add that up. You don't want to add the hours. You don't want to add the hour you got to get ready to go to work. Because you're doing that for them too. We ain't even add that hour. If you add that hour, you're probably looking at 3 years. You're probably looking at 3 years. Wait a minute. We 2.6. Let's add that hour up. Right? 2.6 years. Okay, let's add that hour up. To get ready for work. 1 hour a week. That's 5 hours a week. Times 52. And 1 year, that's 260 hours. Times 45. Divided by 24. Divided by 365. Okay, that's a year. Hold on. That's 1.3 years. We take the 3 off because the day's off. So you spend a year getting dressed. You spend a year getting dressed and 2.6 years, 2 years. So 3 years. You take 3 years to get dressed and go to work and get home. 3 years. 3 years if you work to retirement. If you work 45 years. 3 years you spend getting dressed and going to work and getting home. 3 years of your life. Let that sink in. I got to save this because I'm going to end up saying this a lot. Three years of your life you spend getting dressed and going to work and getting home. 3 years, boy. So that first 3 years you work for them, that's all free, ain't it? Like, I don't know. I got to figure that part out too. Like, 3 years. So by the time you work for them 45 years, you really worked 48 years. In hours, 3 years. 3 years. Tell me that ain't crazy. So that's it, y'all. With that, you got the gist of it with the thing with the FBA and all that. We will talk again soon. Stay positive, and reparations is a must.